Hi everybody, Ira Bruce with the Independent News Network, or the IN as we like to call it around here, INN for Independent News Network. And this is a new platform that we're going to be running on YouTube. I don't know if you're watching us on YouTube or Rumble, but maybe both, hopefully. But anyways, today, our video chat today is about wokeness. Because, you know, today, the latest thing that really kind of is in the news today is now Disney. Disney has all of a sudden become woke. They don't want to say boys and girls anymore. They want to say dreamers, welcome dreamers to Disney. I mean, Disney has been here for 50 years and, you know, in Florida and California, and for 50 years they've been saying, as you come into the parks, welcome boys and girls. And now they don't even want to say that anymore. They're afraid to offend the transgender community, which, in my opinion, transgender identifies themselves as either a boy or a girl. I think if you have girls that are transgender into boys or males or whatever you want to call it, they identify as a boy, right? It's whatever is inside that they identify with. So if you call a boy who trans into a girl, you know, they're still wanting to consider themselves a girl. So who are you offending? Who are you possibly offending when you're saying boys and girls? You can say, welcome boys who were born as a girl but now identify as a boy. They identify themselves as a boy. Why can't they be thinking about themselves when they say boys and girls, and the other way around? So it just doesn't make sense, you know. And in my opinion, that is offending the majority of the population. If you're like me and you're looking at it as a whole from a common sense standpoint, right? If you're like me, you're like, everybody's individual. For me personally, I don't care if you are trans, if you're homosexual, if you're heterosexual. I just don't care either way how you identify yourself. You are what you are, you know, and so everybody's free in this country to feel the way they want to feel, right? And none of us should criticize anybody to project how they feel. So if you have a trans person who has, you know, gone from a boy to a girl or a girl to a boy, there you go, those terms. You can't do away with the words boy and girl. You just can't, right? So I really feel like it's offensive to those of us. It's kind of, again, it's the wokeness that's going on in today's society that's trying to force their opinions on the majority of the people, because I think the majority of the United States population, right, doesn't even care about most of the wokeness things that are going on today. Although, you know, if we want to talk about, I don't know, let's say BLM, Black Lives Matter. You don't even hear about Black Lives Matter anymore. Why? Because that organization has been totally discredited. Because the millions and millions of dollars that were donated by big corporations who didn't want to be canceled to Black Lives Matter, I hate to tell you that they were totally ripped off, because the head of the Black Lives Matter, she took that money, and it is noted and it is proven, she bought houses in Florida and elsewhere with that money. And you, if you're one of the ones who are watching this video and you donated to Black Lives Matter, your money was taken to buy her and some of her cronies there in the Black Lives Matter cars, and I'm sure jewelry. I'm sure we've already known that the only way to prove, now it's public knowledge, when you buy a residence, when you buy a house, when you buy an investment property, you can go right into a property appraiser and see that this was purchased by a certain person. So that Black Lives Matter thing, totally discredited. This Green New Deal needs to go as well. And so that brings Biden into the whole scheme of things. The Green New Deal is totally ruining this country, because the number one thing we need to do is get back to oil independence and energy independence back in this country. And speaking of being independent, we need to be independent more of everything in this country. We need to bring back, especially the pharmaceuticals. The pharmaceutical companies, they go ahead and they have all of these manufacturing plants in China where they have slave labor to make cheap products and then send it back here and charge us top dollar for their product. And that was one of the things Donald Trump was trying to do, was trying to get them to come back to the United States and produce everything in the United States. Because let me tell you something, folks, China really has us over a barrel right now. If we don't change the way we do things and we don't start making things in our own country, we're going to be in big trouble. We're going to be in big trouble pretty soon. So we need to bring back all the manufacturing. But going back to the wokeness of this country, I have over here I have something that is a statement that says, so this is going back to the bill that was presented, and that Disney had an issue with. It says the third, classroom instruction by school personnel or third parties on sexual orientation or gender identity may not occur in kindergarten through grade 3 or in a manner that is not age appropriate or developmentally appropriate for students in accordance with the state standards. So this is what Disney had a problem with. They don't want a bill that gives parents the power to talk to their children about sexual orientation and gender identity within the home. So as we've all learned now, because of the pandemic, with CRT and the likes of all this that has been going on, a huge light has been shone on what education is doing. And if you look at, we can really get into a discussion here with the school unions and how they didn't want to go back to work, and how the schools push this critical race theory, and so now it's not only race that they're going after, but now they're talking, what we have discovered is that they're pushing gender education and trying to get kids to start thinking about whether they're a boy or a girl. Why does anybody have to talk to kids, especially little bitty kids in kindergarten through 3, about whether they're a boy or a girl? These little kids, all they want to do is play. They want to be out there with their friends. If they want to start their own discussion and have their own group, that's one thing. But to have the school advocate for this gender equality or talk about sexual orientation, that is just crazy. And so So Disney went all the way out there, and now they want to try to rescind this bill. Why? Why do they want to try to rescind this bill to talk to small children about their sexual orientation and whether or not they're a boy or they're a girl? You know, before puberty, I don't even think that kids even have an idea of whether they think they're a boy or a girl. I know there's some small kids that like to dress up like girls and stuff like that. Does that really mean they feel like they're a girl? I mean, they're just playing dress up. But adults, you know, will go as far as saying, oh, well, they're wearing their mother's high heel shoes, so they must be a transgender child who thinks they're a girl. No. I mean, there's plenty of kids who just dress up just to play dress up. I mean, I know some girls would dress their brothers up as girls just to, you know, just for fun. I mean, so we cannot go down that road, you know, with a child that young and that early. So I'm saying, Disney, you need to get it together, because, you know, they're just part of that Hollywood industry out there, the movie industry. And I'm even going to go so far out there as to say Disney is very beholden to China. And they go to China, you know, they sell a lot of their movies to China. And, you know, look, folks, we have to stop being afraid of China. We have got to stop being afraid that we're going to be canceled by China. Trust me, China needs us more than we need China. And we have to stop worrying about the almighty dollar. We have to. We have to stop worrying about the almighty dollar and how much money we can make. Because the NBA, they're the same way. The movie industry, they're the same way, because China buys so much of our movies and they fund so much of our movies that these industries are scared to death that China's going to cut them off. Trust me, folks. Trust me. China needs us more than we need them. We need to cut them off, not worry about them cutting us off. Let me tell you something. If we pulled everything back from China, their economy would probably crash, because they rely on us, and they rely on us with our manufacturing and a lot of our industry going over there to China. We need to stop worrying about money, because honestly, money is the root of all evil, if you think about it. That saying is so true today, because that's all these big corporations are worried about. Facebook, that's all they're worried about. They want those billion people over there in China to be on their platform because they're going to make so much more money, right? So Facebook is definitely on the side of China because of all those people that they reach over there, and they make more money. Guys, if we don't wake up here in America and stop worrying so much about making money and where the money's coming from, and worry about our country right here in the United States, we're going to be in big trouble one day. Because one day we're going to be so reliant on China, and they're going to have a hold on us, and they're going to say, all right, they're buying up our land over here more than you really know. They're buying up our corporations. I know that the Waldorf Astoria is owned by China in New York. I mean, there's so many different corporations that are being bought up by China. China is trying to buy the United States, and they're trying to get us from within. They're sending all kind of students over here, and then putting those students into these important positions to steal our intellectual property over here. China is after us. We have to be careful. It all comes back to wokeness. And so I really feel like, you know, a lot of this wokeness is coming from the people who are supplying the money to promote these woke ideas. And again, I go back to the Green New Deal. I go back to all the woke, you know, politics, the Black Lives Matter, the transgender movement, all of these minor insurgencies that we shouldn't even be worrying about or concerned about, right? So we, as an independent voter, we make the rules. We make the rules because we're the ones that break the tie, right? And the person who breaks the tie, or the entity or the group that breaks the tie, is the one that has the power. And so that's why I've made this channel for the independent voter, because we need to know how powerful that we are as the independent voter who can make or break just about anything, starting with the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. Our votes are the ones that matter. If all the Republicans vote, all the Democrats vote, they're about 50-50. We're the ones that are going to make or break whatever the agenda is. So we need to make our voices heard. And that's why I've started this Independent News Network channel, because I want the independent voter. I would prefer there were no parties. I would like for the independent movement just to take over Democrat or Republicans, and we can do that. We can force Republicans or Democrats to do what we want and our agenda, because if they don't, then they're going to lose our vote. And that's the last thing the Democratic Party or the Republican Party wants to do, is lose our vote. We are powerful. We are mighty in our vote. And we're the ones that are going to make or break these elections. And we have to also be, like I said in other videos, we have to be very careful about our elections. Our elections are the #1 most powerful thing that we have as a person in the United States. If we lose our right to vote and we don't have election integrity, we're doomed. We're totally doomed. And that was proven to us in the 2020 election, when you had people like George Soros who are funding all these woke politicians to get their agenda passed. We have to be very careful. And us as independent voters are the ones that are going to make or break that. We don't need to be brainwashed or subservient to any of this woke politics. We need to be our own person, independent-minded, and we need to have common sense. And again, I'm going to continue to preach this. We need to research who these politicians are and who they're subservient to. Because you have these DAs that control our laws, and it's so very dangerous to allow these woke politicians and DAs to have any kind of control over anything. So independent voters, let's stand up, let's let our voices be heard, and let's get this movement going. This channel is all about getting the independent voter movement going. We are powerful, and let's make sure that our voices are heard. I want to thank you so much for watching this video. If you're not yet a subscriber, please go ahead, become a subscriber. Let's go ahead and, let's start chatting about some of the things that we're talking about here. And let's get a storyline going. Let's make these Democrat and Republicans see that the independent voter is starting to get organized and get together and start talking about topics that we're interested in and how we want things going in a certain way. Let's get rid of this wokeness in this country. We're the ones that can do that. We're the only ones that can do that, okay? The Republicans can't do it because they just have half the vote. The Democrats are the ones that are pushing the wokeness. They need our vote on either side to get an agenda moving forward. So this is what this channel is all about. So let's get together. Let's let our voices be heard. Again, if you're not yet a subscriber, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button and also the notification button. So each and every time we make one of these videos, you'll receive it and we can let our voices be heard. We can start chatting about it, and let's kind of get everybody known about this independent news network and see what we're talking about and let our voices be heard, because this is the only way that we're going to be able to get things changed in this country. Again, thank you for watching. We'll see you in our next video.